Hello and welcome to What's the Tea? Thank you for joining us again this Tuesday for another episode of What's the Tea. Make sure you grab your tea and share this video with your networks on Facebook. Every week, we at South Suburban Family Shelter highlight either a staff member or someone that is a part of the South Suburban Family Shelter community so that you can get some insight into who we are as staff and the work that we're doing to help those that are impacted by domestic violence. And today we have Carissa Brown with us. She is one of our community partners and she works at an organization called Options for Youth. Hey, Carissa.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me today.
Thank you for being a part of this. Everyone is excited for your interview because I talk about you in the work that we do. And so the staff members that have already interacted with you and then those who haven't were excited. Like, okay, we're going to see Carissa on camera. So thank you so much for doing this.
No problem.
So we wanted to do an interview in which we just highlight really the power of community partnerships because I feel like it's vital to the work that you do at Options for Youth, and it's vital to the work that we do at South Suburban Family Shelter. And so we really wanted to highlight just how our organizations connected, how our agencies support one another, and the value that you have found in the relationship and in general, in your community partnerships in general. What are the values or what value has it added to your work? So if we could start by you can go ahead and introduce yourself, where you work, what you do.
Okay, no problem. I'm Carissa Brown. I work for Options for Youth. Right now, I'm currently doing a position entitled Family Support Specialist, where we basically work with young moms ages 13 to 21 within the Chicago public school system. So we work with young teen parents within the Chicago public school system, as well as alternative schools. Okay. Our parents are from the ages of 13 to 21. And what we do is basically we help support them as they continue their journey through pregnancy as well as parenting. Okay. So that consists of anything from providing developmental information, social emotional information for the parents as well as for the children. We connect them with different resources within the community, which one of being, South Suburban. We also do workshops once a month. Right now we're doing everything virtually, so it's through Zoom. And these are workshops for the parents, and it consists of information settings. So it could be anything from, like healthy eating, healthy relationships, domestic violence prevention, anything of that sort to kind of help and guide the parents as they grow and develop as parents as well. We also do what we call our smart parent, smart baby activities. And this is an opportunity for the parent and the baby to get together and have fun activities done through us. So for instance, for the month of February, we have our Little Love Month. So all of the parents will get different activities to do with their child, guided by us. One of the activities is, how do you show love? Can you show love to your child? What are the ways that you can show love? As well as we're doing Valentine's Day bingo. So our toddlers will have an opportunity to complete the little bingo cards and learn different activities through there. So mostly it's probably going to be literacy, but it's just the opportunity for us to teach our parents how to be better parents.
Yeah, awesome. That's awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about what brought you to this work? What inspired you?
Well, I've always been in social services. From the moment I graduated undergrad, I've always geared myself towards social services. When I was in college and started college, I didn't know what I wanted to do, honestly. Yeah. It was just go to college, so I kind of just went to college. And then I took some psychology courses. And from there, it just kind of stemmed into social work and social services. And that's how it got me to the different agencies I've been at so far. I love working with people in general. I love making sure people can see the best inside of them and helping to see that, especially when people are, going through tough times and dealing with like the worst of things. It's good to have a great support system. And I feel like the work that I do, I'm just supporting them. I can teach you, I can help you gain all the knowledge you can, but it's up to you to kind of take it and run with it. I've always, for some odd reason, I've always been guided towards the younger crowd. I've worked with the older people. I've worked with people my age. I worked with the teenagers, but the teenagers just always kind of loved Carissa. And so I just kind of stuck with it. People think I'm crazy to want to work with the teenagers, but it's perfectly fine. I love how they, kind of look at me as a positive female mentor, and they really open up to me, and we can get the work done, and I can help them be whatever they want to be,
That's amazing. And, we need people that are going to be committed to youth, to young people, to teenagers, to young adults, like yourself is so important. So the work that you do is amazing. Can you tell us a little bit more about how the partnership between South Suburban Family Shelter and Options for Youth got started? Because you guys were already, I know Angie was already coming and doing trainings for you guys when I first started. So how did that originate?
So like I said, I've been doing this work for a long time now. I think about 17, 18 years now.
Wow.
And I've always networked wherever I went, as far as the agency or the organization that I've been at. I've always networked. And so I believe I met Angie. It was probably with maybe 6 years ago or something of that sort. It was quite a while. And she did one of the trainings at one of the high schools that I was working at. And I just loved how she communicated with the teenagers. I loved how she related to the information that was given, and the teenagers loved it too. I saw teenagers wanting to open up more, so not just my clients, but the school in general. That was one of the biggest things too. Because when we're dealing with the children, as far as in the alternative schools or different schools outside of just a regular CPS, they tend to come with a lot more issues.
Right.
And so we want to make sure that we target those issues and help with those issues so we can help you move forward within your school career.
Yeah.
And so Angie came in, and we just kind of always worked together, and we did what we needed to do. Anytime I called Angie, she was there to do training and everything. And so after that, and then, I end up meeting you through Angie, and the same thing, like South Suburban has always been there to support our girls, even if it's a training, even if it's a one-on-one, I can make a phone call and give my girl the resources that she needs. And I think that's the biggest thing with, community partnership. It's just opening up, having those resources, and being able to link the client to the resources that they need.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Can you talk a little bit more about that? You talked about some of the alternative schools and how that demographic, they have certain needs that may be specific to them, and they may be vulnerable to certain things. Can you talk a little bit more about that? The population that you work with, what are those specific needs that they have? And so then, and how that translates to how important it is to have the partnership that you guys have with us at South Suburban Family Shelter.
Right. So right now we're connected with several alternative schools that will include Chatham Academy, Ombudsman South, and Ombudsman Roseland. Those are the 3 alternative schools that we're working with right now. And we're partnering with them. So basically we do get our referrals from them. And then we also bring in resources for them as well. So that would include South Suburban, providing services to them, because these children, I love the work that I do. I love the children and the young adults that go to these schools, because I feel like they have so much more to, basically want out of life, because you had a hard life, but you're steady trying to get that high school diploma, and the ambition and the strive that they had is just wonderful. So 9 times out of 10, it's behavioral problems, social emotional problems they come in with. Of course, one of the resources is my program with my moms and dads that do have children at younger ages. So that's a support for them, as well as people who are just dealing with like mental health issues. Of course, we do see people that are not in stable relationships with their partners, which causes even more issues. So I think with the connections, even though me being a partner with these schools, I can also be a resource to them by bringing in my partnerships and having them talk to the students as well.
Okay, absolutely. That's amazing. In terms of, just the power of networking, what advice would you offer to those who are trying to build more partnerships and not just build those partnerships, but keep those professional relationships with different organizations strong? If you could speak to that and a little bit more about maybe some of the specifics, or if you have like a memory of something specific that has happened that you can say, oh my goodness, I'm so glad I had this partnership. Tell us more about that.
Sure, no problem. I think partnerships in general, with especially the work that we do in the community that we serve, I think it's a must.
Yeah.
Because with us, as far as working with vulnerable people, it's difficult sometimes. If you tend to take on all of those things yourself, you become overwhelmed. But you have to understand that, it's not just you, like it's really a village trying to make sure people are, where they're supposed to be and getting to the things that they want to accomplish as far as their goals. And that comes in all aspects, not just if I want to complete a GED. It's like, what about if I'm in this situation and this man is putting his hands on me, but I have nobody else to go to, but I have a good relationship with Ms. Brown. Ms. Brown, she has my back. She never failed me. She always tells me the truth. And so this is a person that I can trust. This is a person that I can go to. So 9 times out of 10, they find that in me. And so when they have that and they have no one else to go to, especially being younger. And so now if I bring in somebody, they like, oh, okay, if Miss Brown say she cool, I know she cool, So they're able to trust that partner that I then link them up with to get those services.
Wow.
So for example, I've had a girl several times that had issues as far as DV issues and like literally had to flee her home. And we've always worked together due to this. And I know it was several issues that was brought up plenty of times, but, she never did say, that physically I'm getting hit. We worked on the emotional part, but, she never said physically until this last time. And she had to get put out. And then that's when I actually reached out to you and those services were kind of met. And it was, it was amazing to see that this young girl, not understanding what was really going on with her situation and her children, but to have these services offered to her, to know that, if I leave this situation, I have support, that was the best thing for me.
Absolutely. Thank you for, just sharing that story, because I think that in the moment, like when you called me, I was just, I was impacted too, because it reminds me of how important the relationships are. And it, shines the light on in those moments where, we're often doing education, I'm often doing outreach, but we're in this conversation where it's like, okay, we're in an emergency. It feels good to say, okay, we got everything she needs. Call this person, send this, make this call, like we've got it, and I think that is some of the power of the relationships, because you can meet the needs of the client that maybe Options for Youth does not have, some of the resources you don't have, but you have the connection with South Suburban Family Shelter so that all of her needs can be met, and that there's extra support.
Yes.
In our training, when we talk about at-risk youth, we often talk about protective factors for at-risk youth. And one of them is just having at least one supportive adult that they can trust, and how huge of a difference that makes, how life-changing that is, having that one adult that believes in you, that you can trust, that you can talk to. And so I know you're playing that role for so many young people. It's a huge role, especially when they don't have it in their parents. Many of them don't have it in their parents. So I think that it's not only that, but I think often when you think about what does it take to be a successful adult in this life, even for you and me, we have to know not only how to do things within our own competency, but how to leverage our resources, even for our life, like even for our normal life. If you need work done on your house, if something happens to your car, if you're sick and you can't pick up your child from school, one of the skills of a successful adult is to know how to really employ resources, your network, your friends, your family, services that are available. So I think, especially for the work you're doing, not only are they receiving the services, but you're modeling to them how to leverage partnerships, how to leverage social capital, right? And how to leverage their networks, because they're seeing you do it. Okay, Ms. Brown's connected to this organization, and so she's connecting me with them. So I think it is even giving more of those skills for them, how to be a successful parent, how to be a successful adult, how to navigate through life, right?
Yes. And I think that's, one of the biggest goals, like looking back at the clients that I have serviced, and then, seeing where they are now, and knowing that I was a part of their success. I have families that I've worked with like 15 years ago.
Wow.
And this young lady, it has just grown into a wonderful woman, to the point like I became part of their family now. Wow. Grandma is like, Miss Brown, you can still stop by, right? And I was just like, yes, wow. I know. And just to see how well they just welcomed me in and just trust me with, it was her granddaughter, with their granddaughter's life, because, it's not easy navigating life, not just being a teenager, but being a teen mom, at that. Now everybody's saying it's not about you, it's about a baby. And it's like, but if I can't be the best person I need to be, I can't take care of baby. So we have to learn how to divide it and make sure that everybody's getting service properly. So therefore we can make sure not only mom achieves her goals and accomplishes everything she wants to do, but when the baby starts school, the baby's where they need to be.
That is absolutely true. That's amazing, the longevity that you have in terms of some of these relationships with former clients. And I know that has to be rewarding. It has to be just mean everything, because what you do is rewarding, but it's also challenging. It's hard.
Very much so. Yes. And you have to learn how to balance, in a sense, because, with the clients that I serve in particular, and I'm so happy, some of them are in high school, but some of them have graduated, but they have gained full-time employment. So it's like, okay, now we have to figure out, how can I still meet with you to help you continue to grow? And so it's establishing those boundaries too, because now that we're virtually, like, everybody knows you're at home, so the clients want to FaceTime all the time, and it's like, I'm gonna need you to pencil you in, like, you just can't just FaceTime me, but they understand. It's just that they're so used, especially with the pandemic now, they're so used to us being right there, whether it's at the school or at the home. They just want us there. And now that it's virtually, it's like they miss that social interaction with me, Like one of my girls was just sending me a picture yesterday of her and her baby, and she was like, Miss Brown, we miss you so much. And I was like, I miss y'all too, And it's been all of this time. Nobody knew it was going to be this long before we were able to interact, again, one-on-one, so to speak. So that tells you what it impacts this job is doing. You know, even though I'm still meeting with her virtually, FaceTime, Zoom, or whatever, it's still like, but I want you to sit down on my couch and like really talk to
I
me,
want to
you
be able
know?
to connect, really connect. Yeah. I mean, it kind of speaks to the fact that for us, our Southside Connections office, which is in Ashburn community, we had spoke about connecting because you guys meet around the corner at the library. And so that was a plan that had to be tabled because then we were home for the pandemic. And so that created a challenge for the partnership in a way, because we had to think, okay, how can we still stay connected regardless of the fact that we're not going to see each other face to face. Can you talk about that? How did you guys mitigate? Because I know there was a transition because the girls were not, or the students were not immediately comfortable with jumping on Zoom, right? How did you guys make that transition?
So a lot of the girls were not even familiar with Zoom. FaceTime, yeah. But as far as our Zoom meetings, when we do our Zoom meetings, those are what we call our workshops. So that's pretty much like the information settings, you know? So it was like, now I have to be on the computer or the phone with all of these people. It wasn't the same for them. So we had to really learn how to get the girls on the phone and figure out what time works best for everyone. Because grant you, even though everybody's still at home, like people are at school, like I said, some people have work. So we just had to work around those kind of things going on. But like you were saying, we usually meet at the libraries. And of course, we feed the girls lunch or whatever. So they were used to that. And they were used to that setting because it was the information setting for the parents. And then it was the play activities for the children. So that was fun for the kids to come in and, you know, kind of be around other children. And so once we moved it to Zoom, it's like, okay, how can we keep the parents engaged? So we started thinking about fun activities that we can do with the parents and the children, as well as bring in guest speakers. So we have fun activities, maybe like in the beginning of the month, and then we'll bring in a guest speaker. Whatever that topic is for the month, that's the speaker that we'll bring in. So that's how South Suburban continued their partnership with us, because we was able to have you all come in and still speak to our girls. And I feel like the girls were still able to get that information. And if they needed other information or resources, in a sense, they were able to reach out to their particular staff member, and then we was able to get them the help that they needed. That was one of the best things that came out of the pandemic, I believe, because it was like we were still able to provide that service. Because that's very important. Just because we're in a pandemic don't mean, you know, issues stop.
That's right. In many cases, it has escalated. So it has escalated because people were sheltered at home. So when we were able to do a training, and the entire Southside Connection staff was able to present on the different services that we provide in that office to your youth. And I don't think you stayed on that whole call. We didn't get a chance to fully debrief, but when I tell you that they were so interested, and they were asking a lot of questions, like the young women were asking us lots of questions, lots of details. And I'm like, okay, you know, and so some other staff from your organization, you know, let me know they're not often this attentive. So they must really, you know, have enjoyed what you said, were impacted by what you guys have shared, and found it to be helpful. So I was excited about that, and it was just a pleasure. And our other staff members really enjoyed connecting with them as well. It helps to put, it just helps the interaction to know, especially that you're helping people that are in this population, you know, and young adults, young moms, or young parents, that we're able to have the resources to meet their needs, and even just provide the education to prevent something from happening.
Yeah. And I got great feedback too. Like they said they loved you all. So that was a plus. You know, I wasn't, you know, afraid in that sense, because I know you all and I know how you work. So I felt like the connection was going to be there that particular day. But I have not received any backlash. So I'm happy because, you know, sometimes, I feel like it's the person who communicates the information.
Yeah.
Like if you have that spirit that's able to connect with people, like it's going to flow a whole lot better. And especially dealing with younger people, you have to know how to kind of gauge their attention and keep it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Absolutely. I think that as we begin to kind of wrap up our interview, this is one thing I want you to speak to. You have worked at various organizations and have been doing this for a long time, and you've been able to build partnerships and then maintain partnerships with various organizations as like South Suburban Family Shelter and other ones. What advice in terms of outreach, partnership building, leveraging the right partnerships to meet the needs of your clients, what advice would you offer other professionals who are trying to have maybe a more robust network to support the work that they're doing?
From one, I would say you have to learn how to professionally network. You have to be able to get out here and know, for one, you have to know what your clients need. And then you have to know, is there somebody who is able to provide that service? For me, in a sense, like I've worked not a lot of places, but I've worked at different agencies and I build relationships with them to the point like I can always go back if I need to. And that's how you want to leave a place. You know, you always want to leave on a positive note. And I feel like with me, I don't know. People always tell me like it's just your whole vibe and how you work and your work ethic, which drives people into you. And I'm so grateful for that because I have grown my network and my partnerships because of who I am. I love the work that I do, but like I say, like I can't do it by myself. You know, I've learned a lot, like with my education and my experience. I've learned a whole lot, but it's like sometimes, you know, especially with the younger crowd, they just don't want to hear you talk. They don't want to hear you talk. So I like to bring in people who are informative about the, you know, the topic and are able to bring in different things. Like maybe they can bring in an activity or maybe they can, you know, talk to them in a different manner instead of just hearing Ms. Brown talk, you know? So I feel like that's one of the best things. And as you want to advance your career, it's best for you to kind of grow your network, not just for your clients, but for you. You know, professionally, you want to make a name for yourself. And I feel like now that I've been in this work and done this work for so long, that people who know Carissa Brown, they know she on top of her stuff. Like she not gonna play that. Like whether it's paperwork, data entry, like it's connecting to the clients, like anything. And I'm not sitting here bragging, but I'm just saying,
I know what you're saying though. Absolutely. It's important to know that you're confident in the reputation that you've built because you've been consistent over time and it makes you an asset. It's awesome. I think it's great advice. Absolutely.
I love what I do. I've just been grateful, and honestly, I've been so appreciative of the agencies that I've worked for because they've seen so much in me, and they've helped me grow. And I think that's part of your professional growth too. Picking organizations that's going to help you be the best person that you need to be. And so I'm just thankful for the places that I've been, and the places that I'm going to continue to go to. I feel like it's just a great asset for me and the clients that I serve too.
Yeah, absolutely. So Carissa, you have any final words you want to leave? Again, in our interview, we really wanted to highlight just the power of partnerships, of networking, of leveraging the partnerships to meet the needs of the clients that we work with. Any final words you want to share? Any final thoughts?
Sure. You always want to have a partnership. You want to have several different places like your clients can go to and receive the information and resources that they need. South Suburban is a great partnership. Like I said, I love them. They're there for me if I need them. My clients have loved them as well as the training sessions. And I think that's the best thing. If you find an agency that is willing to work with you and provide you with the services that South Suburban has provided me with, like you stick with them, you know, like
don't let the partnership die, right? Yes.
You stick with them, you know, like I've never called on South Suburban and they like, nah, we ain't gonna be able to do it. We always try to find a way. And that's the best thing about it.
Yeah, I think that a lot of that, and this is what I love about working at South Suburban Family Shelter, you're with other people that, as you said, are passionate about this work, that take this work home, you know, and have to draw those boundaries, even, you know, emotionally and mentally, as you do, you know, with your clients, because you care so much about what you're doing, and you're willing to go the extra mile to help and to make sure that these that the client's needs are met. So no, that speaks highly and speaks, I think, very accurately of just the culture of our organization and yours as well, and what you guys are doing. So I think those are good partnerships to have when you're at agencies and you partner with agencies where the people care, they're competent, they're gonna go hard to make sure that things are done. I think that that's amazing. Absolutely. Carissa, I know you have a busy day. I want to thank you so much for just taking the time to be featured on our What's the Tea episode. Everyone, make sure you share this video, circulate it on Facebook, like it, love it, and be sure to join us next week at another episode of What's the Tea. Thank you so much. All right, Carissa, thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.